What are the best movies of the 2020s so far? This is a question that James and I have been talking about for a long time, and we're going to be talking about it at episode 200, our live event on the 8th of October, coming soon.
We're going to be running a vote on our social media where all of you can contribute your vote to what you think are the very best films of the 2020s. Then, in our live show, we're going to reveal them one by one to a live audience. We'll also ask people on the day what their favourite films are. We'll probably reveal ours too. It's going to be an amazing live show. We can't wait to see you there.
So we'll have concrete data as well as our own opinions. It's going to be so much fun. Are you an Everything Everywhere All at Once person? Are you an Oppenheimer person? Are you a Barbie person? All opinions welcome. We'll be collating the data and sharing it, and we hope you can join us on the night. Tickets are still available. Check our bio for more information for episode 200. On with the show.
See you there.
You and I have lots of conversations about physical media, haven't we? In the past, we've talked about physical media, we've talked about Blu-ray, 4Ks, and I can now contribute to this debate in a sort of roundabout, not in a film-related way. But James, I'm very, very sad at the moment.
Okay.
Because my local record shop is shutting down.
Oh, no.
And it's been there since 1958.
Wow.
And it's closing down. And genuinely, I've never had this before. I know what it must be like for someone to lose like their favorite pub or their an actual space. I was walking down the high street and there's just this sandwich board and it just says goodbye sale. I was like, and I went in and it was thronging with people all saying the same thing, like what's happening? I'm heartbroken. What's going on? And I've sort of been back over successive days because they have a sale on to see what they've got. And, you know, there have been like 60-year-old blokes in there saying, I've been coming here since I was a kid. We used to come down from the boarding school and we use our pocket money and spend it on the records we got here. Nice. And I wanted to share this sort of strange experience, which is like, I really am going to miss this physical space and this physical, obviously physical media is great. And I can still continue to buy vinyl, but it's also the environment itself, going there, rummaging
browsing
through.
media in real life and physically flicking through something is a pleasure.
And the irony is that because they've had this sale on, they've got like 30% off everything, and then they've had these like massive £1 vinyl bins, and they're just like flick through it, whatever you get is £1.
Wow, that's good.
And I've flicked through that, and I've found some absolute gems. So I've been every time I go in there, I come out and with like stacks under my arm. I've got for like £5, like these great albums. And so my record collection has actually absolutely boomed. But the irony is that it's given me the exact pleasure of record store shopping, which I'm going to lose by the fact that it's closing down. And I'm just really sad. And, there's rumors, it's like, maybe you might get bought or something, but I'm like, 1958.
Because the record shop, like a cute bookshop, is typically, for a lot of people, a shop they love to go in, but not always make a purchase. And we really appreciate these shops for existing on the high street, but it doesn't necessarily, it equates to, the appreciation does not match the revenue generated.
Yeah.
And there's just something so convenient about every other solution. Well, again, not that HMV is obviously a completely different beast, but that has seen it, massively closed, wind down. But they are essentially, if you've been to an HMV recently, like a merch, t-shirt, poster, record, toys shop. They do obviously still do games and Blu-rays and CDs, but it's much more, they've lent further into that, we're a physical media, we'll double down on that. I'm sure they'll always kind of exist, but in a much smaller capacity. But it's not unpleasant to go through.
No, and then a lot of them now are called the HMV shop. Have you noticed that? They're not called HMV anymore. They're called like the HMV shop established like 2021, which is like quite interesting. They're like completely sort of like pivot. Yeah. But I will miss it, and I'm sad because also like if I want to buy a secondhand vinyl for £8, if I buy it from a record shop, I know it's been looked over, checked, cleaned up, and put on sale. Whereas if I buy a secondhand vinyl from Amazon, it's just any old Tom, Dick and Harry. They could be, I don't know what condition that could be in. So,
do you know good ones in London?
There's ones further. There are ones nearer to me, but this one is like 3-minute walk from my house. I can't beat it. So I will go to other ones, but it's not the same. So I'm sad.
It's not the same. That is sad. I think someone wrote in about asking me, like picking off my conversation about what 4K Blu-rays I would buy and if I'd started. The answer is no, I've not started.
I think that's an email we've got.
We'll get to it. Stay tuned. I'm not in the accumulation phase. I'm right now in the sort of clear my wardrobe, minimize to move in phase. But eventually, stay tuned for the next year, Pulp Kitchen, and I will eventually get back to you on that. But it'll happen.
So today, viewers, is James's birthday.
It is my birthday.
We're actually recording it on James's birthday today.
Have we done a birthday record?
No, we've not.
It's never lined up.
It's never lined up.
By the time you're listening to this, it will be 2 days after my birthday.
Wow.
But just a little.
Would you like to tell the people at home how old you are?
I'm 31.
There he is.
31. I think it's very much a just get on with it year, if I'm honest. I've not really planned like a birthday thing.
No.
I just went for dinner.
Hence why we're recording
last
today.
night. Hence why we're recording. I'm very happy to just get on with it, have a lovely day.
Yeah.
It's sort of a sun is in and out today, so if the exposure on the shot looks weird, it's because of that. But I enjoy my work and I enjoy my life. I really don't mind spending it doing things I enjoy.
James, when you do what you love, every day's a birthday.
Yeah, absolutely, it really is the blessing. I don't get Sunday scaries.
No, I don't either, because
even when it's really busy, I don't get like I really don't want to go or I really don't want to do it, which I think is a really nice thing to have.
It's a wonderful thing to have. I guess the flip side is you have days where it's like, George, it's Saturday, and I go, oh my god, I've been on my phone doing like trying to post a social video or something, or like editing or something.
Yes,
But there's a counterbalance. But we don't get the Sunday scaries because every day's a birthday.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us
if you were
today.
like, I get them every week.
I get them every week. I think of your face, James. And
I look at the week and I go, there's a lot to do.
Yeah,
but I'm not like scared or daunted or sad to jump into it.
No. And that's what we're doing today. We're jumping right into it. Welcome back to Pulp Kitchen, episode 198. Oh, getting close. Squeaky time. To episode 200. And today we're going to be talking about the new Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie movie, A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. And we'll be talking about that and reading some emails and playing a game, of course.
Also, later this week, we are going to be running through all of Leonardo DiCaprio's films.
Yes.
And just sort of like we did for Brad Pitt a few weeks ago ahead of F1, ahead of One
Battle
After
Another,
Another, which we have seen, but we're sort of embargoed to talk about, which will be coming out next week. We're just going to run through Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
One of the biggest actors, easily one of the biggest actors working today. I think I said to you the other day, he's the kind of actor that when the film comes out, it's not just a director's film. It is a Leonardo DiCaprio film, similar to Brad Pitt, similar to Tom Cruise.
In the way that he does. So One Battle After Another is a PTA X Leonardo DiCaprio. It's a brand collaboration.
It's very much like both of them coming together
Scorsese,
to do a film. And he, especially as of sort of the last 10, 15 years, he only works with the best and he always kind of draws the most attention. And we're gonna just unpack his career and run through it from beginning to end, which would be really fun. So look out for that if you're a Leo fan.
Who isn't? He's good.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get into that. I don't walk around. I'm not saying he's my favorite actor, but I'm like, he is good.
He is very good in everything he does. Even when we not sort of review, but when the film started and I saw Leonardo DiCaprio, I was like, he's a good actor.
Yeah,
straight away.
That's a good actor.
Not to break embargo.
No, not to break embargo.
He's good in it. Spoilers.
Oh yeah. So
as always, Double Take came out on Friday. I was late to post it. I forgot and then uploaded it. But
we'll let him off because
it was my birthday weekend.
You know what? Actually, while we're talking about
Double
Patreon,
Take is live.
I think we should I want to do a slight reintroduction to the Patreon.
Oh yeah, great idea.
Because I had someone say to me the other day, they were like, "Oh, so who are these?" So you send the episode off to your producers who work on this, and I was like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "Well, at the end, you thank your producers, Finn and Dave, for working." I'm like, "Okay, let's just recalibrate." Okay, so if you subscribe to our Patreon channel, if you're new to Pulp Kitchen and you want to know what we have on our Patreon, the main thing we offer is Double Take, which is our news film show, which you can subscribe to and get access to. We do it every week, lots of fun film news. There are many different tiers on Patreon, and if you subscribe to the VIP tier, which is the tier above, you get access to Double Take, you get priority access to have your email read out on the show, and obviously being a Patreon also in general, you get access to the Discord, talk to other sirens, and then the top tier is the producer tier, where you get all of the perks, but you also get a personalized shout-out message at the end of every episode, and you are regarded as a producer because obviously your contribution helps us continue what we do.
And once a month, as a producer, we send you a personalized video to say thank you for all your support, and we catch up with you there. And the cheapest one is to just listen to Pop Kitchen ad-free.
Yes, of
so
course.
if you wanted to just do that, that's our cheapest offering. You just get everything you love about Pop Kitchen, but with no ads. And you can sync up with, if you listen on Spotify, Patreon allows you to sync up your feed onto Spotify so that you can just get everything in one place. You don't have to listen on Patreon. And a reminder for anyone who does want to sign up on Patreon, don't do it from your iPhone, because Apple charges Patreon more money to do that, and Patreon passes that cost on to you. So you will save money by logging on to a computer to sign up to Patreon. So I just recommend you do that. It makes no difference to us because ultimately that cost is passed on, but you will pay less per month to sign up on a computer. It's not our money. It's just to Apple. Yeah, Vive la Revolution. But yeah, Siren Tear's the good one. That's where you get Double Take. That's the new show.
Hey, you know what? Everyone's welcome. Patreon. It's just a fun time. Get on that Discord. Yeah. Shall we get on and talk about some movies?
Let's do it.
So, a big, bold, beautiful journey with Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie. I think Margot Robbie's first film post Barbie. I think it is.
Yeah, maybe.
And, two massive stars on a very colourful poster. And if you've seen the trailer or seen the poster, you might be thinking, what the hell is that film about? And we'll try to get into that right now. So it's directed by Kogonada, who's a director I really like. He made a film called Columbus, which I've mentioned many times. I really, really like that movie. And he also made a movie called After Yang with Colin Farrell, which I haven't seen, but that's clearly where the collaboration started. But I like him very much as a director. And in this movie, even though this is much more of a romantic fantasy, there in Columbus, it had the same meditative, calming, sort of steady focus, which I kind of appreciate. A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey follows Colin Farrell, who plays a man, and Margot Robbie, who plays a woman. And they both go to a wedding in the outskirts of Los Angeles, Southern California. And they, in order to get there, they both individually, separately, rent cars from a very sort of suspicious car rental agency that you would almost see in like a kind of a Charlie Kaufman movie or something. It's clearly like a front, but it's not real. It's fronted by Phoebe Waller-Bridge doing a very bizarre
fake German
accent, and also Kevin Kline. And you're given a very specific car with a very specific sat nav that kind of speaks to you. And Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell meet at this wedding, and it's just raining, and it's very gorgeously shot. It's very colourful, and they have this sort of meet cute. And then after the wedding, when Colin Farrell is driving along on his intending to go home, the sat nav says, "Wait, would you like to go on a big, bold, beautiful journey?"
With a 2001 style
HAL
I noticed that,
red
dot, which must be, I mean,
it's
any
definitely reference,
voice referencing that, yeah.
And he's like, yes, I would like, oh my God, why not? I'm going to go on a big, bold, beautiful journey. And so begins a big, bold, beautiful journey. What else to describe?
It's a lot of, there's doorways, walking through doors into scenes, isn't it, structurally?
So, and then he and Margot Robbie end up on this journey together where they sort of are driving along in this car, but will encounter, the sat nav will tell them to stop, and they'll get out, and there'll be like a doorway, just a floating doorway, and they'll go through the doorway, and it will take them to a significant point in one of their lives. And they kind of walk through the memories of their past, talking about it and how it made them feel and how they feel to each other and what's going on. And it's kind of that vibe. James, have I missed anything there? It's a romantic fantasy.
It's a romantic fantasy. Things you wish you could have said to the person
you wish
at
you
the
said.
time.
I would say that it's got, if the best way to describe it is, if you were to take the scene in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind where he and Kate Winslet are running through his memories, make it look like The Umbrellas of Cherbourg with a little bit of, I think it's actually like a happy version of the Charlie Kaufman movie, I'm Thinking of Ending Things, plus the
Life of Chuck
recently, plus a little bit of the intended poignancy of child-parent relationships from All of Us Strangers.
Yeah.
Mixed in a sort of
jumping into memories,
sort of raspberry ripple version of it.
Yeah, it's like you're the child version of you, but you look like the 40-year-old version of you in the scene type thing.
Yes, that's it, and they go off on a big, bold, beautiful journey. I think before we review this, I think it's worth us saying that we saw this at the premiere, the European premiere, which is great, but we saw it at the Odeon West End, Odeon Leicester Square, which is we've been to many premieres there before, but I think you and I both immediately realised that for this kind of film, worst kind of venue, because we were up in the gods, and if you're seeing them big, it is a big screen there.
It is, but it's a big auditorium.
It's a big auditorium, and with this film, it's very much about silences and people sort of gazing into each other's eyes. You could feel it just dissipate as it kind of echoed up to us in the gods. I just thought that was worth saying.
No, that's actually like a really important point for my critique of the film, I had come off a flight, which is not the film's fault that day, and so therefore was quite tired. And I knew I had this premiere in the evening because I wanted to see it for the show, and I just thought I'd get it done. And I was like, premiere, like this film, as you think said on the day, had kind of been nowhere until it was like, here's the European premiere.
Yeah.
And Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell in it. Come red carpet, get dressed up and come and do, and there's thousands of people in the auditorium. And of course, those are huge stars who do draw that type of media PR attention. But I was kind of like, really knew nothing about the film and knew that it was just slightly ethereal. But yeah, it did feel slightly strange to me. And yes, I do think it's a bad place to screen that film. I would have loved to have seen it at a smaller premiere space. Like I think the Curse, this is all very London specific, but like the Curse in Mayfair, I think would have worked better for this type of film. We were way at the back. I really didn't feel like I was close enough to the screen. There was a lot of noise and rustling and popcorn opening and can opening and just I wasn't connecting with the film.
Not that the audience even was that well, it wasn't even that badly behaved. It's just lots of people.
It was a misplaced sort of venue for that. And I wonder if like the marketing and the stars of the film were hoping for a more poignant reaction than I think the film could generate. And that's sort of the thing that I got from it. But I really hoped coming off my flight that this was going to be a fast, engaging, easy to grasp film. And this isn't the film's fault, but like it immediately was everything I didn't need that film to be. And so I was wondering, is it just because I'm tired? But no, I think the film, and I think we're both kind of on the same page as this film. I really never got enough traction with the premise of the film. The film does scenes that come and go as people walk through doorways. So you'll be in one moment and the characters walk through and you're in a different period of time in this person's life, and we're in your high school or with your parent in this hospital, in this childhood home. And a lot of films do have moments like this for one scene, for 5 to 10 minutes. And I think the reason why they don't do it for the entire runtime is because it's quite annoying as a structure of your film. And I think the very form and structure of the film, by being a little bit sort of whimsical and loose, doesn't do the film any favors. I describe the film as reaching for a lot of very low-hanging emotional fruit, excuse the corporate phrase, but I was like, yes, it's very sad when you talk about a parent that's no longer here and things you wish you could have said to them. Yes, it's very sad to talk about a love that was once lost. Yes, the girl you never told them you loved in high school. I'm like, these are all sad things, but you're just inventing scenes one after the other. It's not like there's a clear story here. No. So all of those moments that were really reaching for my emotions, I was like, yeah, but I could write you 10 really sad scenarios and cobble them together in a film and call it a sad movie. So I never got the poignancy of it. I don't think Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell are doing bad work. I think they're let down by some pretty woolly dialogue and some bad scenes to accompany it. A very prominent Burger King sponsorship at one point, and lots of dialogue about cheeseburgers that doesn't really get referred back to. I don't think the film is bad looking. I don't think the film is technically bad. It just is quite woolly and loose, and I never really found myself revving at the right speed to enjoy the film.
Yeah, I think it's baffling. I think it's a real belly flop of a movie, you know, and it's I described what it's trying to do and what it kind of looks like, but the whole film felt like someone telling me about a dream they had, but not in a good way. It's like, and we were driving, and then I was in my high school, and then it was during the play, and I'm like,
but I was me, but I was in the play as my younger self.
Okay, and. I think
and cliche musical number is of course in this.
Yes, I think one of the problems to begin with is that it's called A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. It's this sense of like adventure, but the film never felt real to begin with. The film, from the moment it begins, feels sort of fantastical and strange. So by the time you get to Colin Farrell being asked if he wants to go on a big, bold, beautiful journey, you're kind of like, hasn't that already started? Okay. You should either be saying one of two things. You should either be going, yes, say yes, or you should be going, no, don't do it. Yeah. But you're kind of like, I guess. Yeah. It's already kind of fantastical and weird.
It was never really grounded in the real world.
It was never really grounded. And their meet cute at the wedding was sort of agonizingly bad in terms of the dialogue. And everyone talks in these Pinterest quotes, these sort of Pinterest poems.
Pinterest quotes.
And it's like,
live, laugh,
you know, like they're talking like 3 seconds into meet each other. Margot Robbie's like, well, maybe marry me. And it's I realized that's the moment the film kind of pulled away from me, and I was like, oh, you're this kind of film. You're doing this where everyone's talking in sort of cul-de-sac circular poetry, and it's just not very good.
Sometimes we have to perform to realize the truth about who we are.
The kind of dialogue you'd see in a car advert, actually. Ironically, for a movie about driving along, it's kind of like sometimes you have to go forward to go back. Have you ever wondered what your destination was instead of your journey?
Yeah.
Meaningless.
It's about the friends we made along the way.
It's about the friends we made along the way. And I think, recently, you mentioned Life of Chuck is the most recent sort of closely similar movie, but by comparison, Life of Chuck is so much better. I mean, even though Life of Chuck is completely structured differently, like I cared about Chiwetel Ejiofor and Karen Gillan in that movie, and in the short time we have with them. Yeah. I couldn't say I cared anything about these two. I couldn't even tell you their characters' names. No. And there was a point halfway through, because it all looks, it's all very well shot and everyone's very beautiful and everything. There was a point halfway through, I just thought, what is happening?
What's going on?
What's the drama? What is the drama here?
Because the scenes end before anything makes sense. They just move on, and I'm not connected enough to care about each next one.
It really felt like a real waste of talent, and it just bemused me. It didn't move me at all. It just bemused me, and I kind of sat there thinking, what? You kind of drift in and out of your own consciousness a little bit, drift in and out of your own daydreams. You come back and you go, I'm still here. Where are we now? Oh, Billy Magnuson, what are you doing here? And it's just very strange. It was a real what am I watching here movie? And I say belly flop of a movie because you have all this talent. It's not a low budget movie. It's very handsomely put together. And I think, what is this doing? This is working for no one. And you in the room, we're in a massive auditorium. Everyone just kind of sat sort of stunned silence. Quite a few people left. Yeah. And I think everyone's like, what are we watching? It's just all whim. It's whimsy. It's got no bite, no solid grounding. And, breaking down the sort of influences we talked about, like there are scenes with, going back to see your parents and talking to them as the adult version. And I mentioned All of Us Strangers, which is tonally obviously a very different film. But I'm like, well, All of Us Strangers showed that you can have a really, really weird concept and pull it off. And I was watching A Big Bold Beautiful Journey just thinking, wow, All of Us Strangers was actually kind of amazing at how successful it was in achieving what it did, because it's such a strange concept. And I know that when they were making it, they were like, we don't know if this is going to work. But
could have fallen flat as well.
It could have fallen completely flat.
Also,
but
the age of the characters and the actors, all of that could have been really
But so, for those who don't remember All of Us Strangers, a guy in his 40s goes back to see his childhood home, and he sees his parents who have died when he was a kid, but they are as they were. And that has loads of great, meaningful, poignant scenes that you can really invest in. And when that happens in this film, A Big Bold Beautiful Journey, it's like, you give me nothing because you're not a real person to begin with. This is all just a dream. This is all candy floss. This is all fair. It's all fugazi.
You can't build your entire film out of fluff.
No,
it's all candy floss. You need to have some stable concrete there, and then you can have some spirally bits that spin off the sides. Yeah. When it's all just built on nothing, I've got nothing to grip onto. And I'm not concentrating.
And like a dream that you have had, it vapors and flies away from your mind immediately. The only upside was that when we went into this film, we looked online what the runtime was, and it was 2 hours 20.
So it still says 2 hours 20 here on Google.
Is insane. But thankfully, we were all, I think also it affected our viewing of it, because we sat there and we're thinking, my God.
I was checking my watch and I was like, oh my God, I have an hour and 20 minutes left. Yeah. How is this going to How is it possible? But thankfully,
mercifully, the film ends at an hour 40. I think it's an hour 40
Do you think, because Google at the current, as of today, still says 2 hours 19. Do you think original runtime of this film was submitted at 2:20 and it got massively cut down?
Yes.
There must be, this doesn't come from nowhere.
Yeah, comes from nowhere. I think there was an original version. They've probably cut it down. And at an hour and 40, it's kind of like I shake the film's hand and go, we're going to go our separate ways. Yes. If it was 2 hours 20, I think you and I would be really a lot harsher on it. But it's like, look, it doesn't work. It's not for us. It's not. I don't think it works for anyone.
It's not an unpleasant watch.
No, it's not unpleasant.
It's pleasing and it's cute and it's like there are humorous moments, but it's not. I don't want to spend any more time there. I'm very much done at 100 minutes.
This is quite harsh, but I would say, if you put it on a plane to fall asleep to,
it's because it will send you into a dreamscape of loose sleep-based connected
it's comfortable and this kind of, and it's actually quite a nice film to fall asleep to if you need something soporific. Yeah. But
also ideas I've seen before, to be honest.
Yes,
things I have kind of seen before.
Also, if you're going to call your movie A Big Bold Beautiful Journey, it's not big, it's not bold, and yes, it's beautiful to look at, but really, it's actually quite meandering.
It's quite a sort of self-descriptive title. It's like, let the audience tell your film it's big, bold, and beautiful. Let a critic say that. You don't call it a most wonderful adventure with smiles and laughs. It's like, I'll describe the film as a big, bold, beautiful journey. This movie is called
next year's Best Picture winner.
It's like Lord of the Rings being called an epic fantasy adventure with death and laughter. It's like,
what about It's a Wonderful Life? Is that the
It's a
exception?
good film.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good film.
No, true. But that was made. What year did that come out?
1943 or something.
Yeah. 80 years ago.
So disappointing. And so when I go back to it, a lot of people have been saying, what is this film about? And I'm like, that is the problem. It's not really about anything. If you've looked at the poster, you've looked at the trailer and thought, what is going on here? You are right. Your suspicions are true.
Yeah.
It's not really happening here. But, you know, again, it's not mean-spirited. I like the talent involved. I like Kogonada. He will go on to make another better film. So will the actors in this. You know, both of these actors can rely on the massive franchise IPs that they're attached to carry through their career.
And you said if this film had not had those two stars, and I think you said if it had starred Anna Kendrick and Henry Golding or something, we would just never have heard about this film.
Oh my God. If this had been Anna
which is you very well cast the cheaper version of this film.
Trust me, if this had been Henry Golding and Anna Kendrick, you would have scrolled across this on Amazon Prime and you'd have gone, huh? I don't remember this movie going out.
You looked at the title, the font, the colours and gone, nah.
Yeah.
Bit like a sort of Hallmark Christmas film type rom-com without those two stars in it.
Yeah.
There's something about it which feels like brightly lit, cheap studio-y.
Yeah. But I'm like, you got to have a bit more darkness and depth in there, I think. There's got to be a bit, you've got to have a little bit of grit in with the sandwich.
Something to say. I'd say for people listening, it is a miss. I wouldn't take your time.
Flop.
Although we're not sort of slating it. I just think I wouldn't really occupy your time with it.
No, I wouldn't waste it. It is sadly a waste of time, a waste of talent. Yeah. And it gives us no pleasure to say that because it was
well, if you're listening to this too late and you did end up going to see A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, we would genuinely like to hear if you maybe enjoyed it a little bit more than us, so there's something you got from it that we didn't. As always, send in your thoughts to hello@popkitchenpodcast.com and we'll read them out on a future episode of the show.
I would venture to say, James, this is a bit harsh, but I would almost venture to say that Hot Tub Time Machine has some more moments of poignancy with going to revisit your younger life.
Yeah, Hot Tub Time Machine's great fun.
Yeah.
It's got Rob Corddry in it, who I think is just not used enough in Hollywood. I think he's so funny.
Who plays the college bro? Who's the antagonist in that movie? Who wants to drink the Chernobyl?
I can't remember.
Metal Arm.
Oh, is it Sebastian Stan?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that for him.
But anyway, we've got lots of other things to talk about because we've got lots of emails to do that. So shall we do some emails, James?
Let's do it. George, should we go through some of the emails that we get sent into the show every single week? As always, guys, if you want to send in your thoughts, your questions, your concerns,
you can send them into hello.
Your reviews. You can send them into.
I'm sorry. I really went off form recently. Do it again.
Your thoughts, your questions, your concerns.
You can send them into.
No, your reviews.
Oh, sorry. Your reviews.
You can send them into.
Hello.
At pulpkitchenpodcast.com. Just like AP does. Oh, Alex. It says
it comes in as AP.
Comes in as
Associated
AP.
Press.
Associated Press. Assistant producer. Alex writes in, hi guys, new listener here. Welcome. And can I just say how happy I am to have found your podcast?
He says it with a question mark though.
Found
how
your podcast?
Happy I am to find your podcast?
I spent a lot of time bouncing from pod to pod within the film discussion sphere, and I've really struggled to find that comfortable equilibrium in a pair of hosts that just works. It's hard to explain, but you fine chaps have nailed it. Thank you. He's been lost in the ether of podcasting amorphous nothingness.
Yes.
And then bam, he lands on planet Pulp Kitchen.
I love it.
Crashes in.
Hey.
Bit of structure.
Yeah.
A bit of hey.
You know what it is? It's the je ne sais quoi. It's the thing like you and I shouldn't get on the same plane at the same time because we have the
Coca-Cola recipe.
Yeah, we have the Pulp Kitchen recipe.
I like that. If we ever get phoned up by Claire, we cannot fly at the same time.
Yeah. George will have to fly coach and James will have to fly private jet.
I'll have to fly private jet. Blabbering on, the main reason for this correspondence is that whilst trawling through some of your older episodes, episode 189 to be specific.
James, what did we review in episode 189?
I do not know how to do this. I literally have no ability to do this. So if it's now, it's 10 weeks ago.
9 weeks ago.
Is it 9 weeks ago? Is it Jurassic World? Is it around that time?
Ooh, I think you could be onto something.
Could be there.
Or what does everyone think at home? What's it going to be?
I go for Jurassic. Yeah, because it's like midsummer, isn't it? Am I too late?
You were too early. Episode 189 was the most perfect movies ever made, part 2.
Oh, that's the rough one to get. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Lovely.
Well, I'm sure it was a lovely episode.
Yeah, it is, and you should go and check it out because we did a whole thing on perfect movies if you're new. James brings up something that I too have also been pondering and started dipping my toes into 4K UHD DVDs. That's a lot of letters and numbers if you don't know what those are. I'm interested to hear where James is up to with his collection and what films he's looking forward to adding to his shelf. Is there anything that stands out to him as a must-watch in 4K? George, where do you stand on this? You mentioned you collect vinyl. What a perfect...
It's a sore spot right now.
You collect vinyl. And so I assume one expensive medium might be enough of a hole in your coffers.
It is.
Anyway, I would love to hear both of your thoughts on physical media and the space it occupies within the industry. Thanks for being brilliant. Your new champion, Alex. Well, that must have been the episode where I sort of talked about the sort of... I described it as I feel sometimes like I'm watching things through a digital veil, a digital barn door effect, you know? Like I'm seeing it, but am I sort of like watching through a slightly furry, compressed haze? That's probably the best expression of how I'm feeling and why I was inclined to start a 4K UHD Blu-ray collection. As I said at the top of the show, I haven't started this collection yet because I'm going to wait until I move into my new place to start my shelf. But the types of films I want to have there are not just some of my favorites, but films I think are worth having that I want to rewatch, that I want available to me. So there's certain films which I might not get because I might go, I don't just want to have this to show that I own the film. It might be a film I want to own so that I have the ability to rewatch it in the best quality.
Yeah,
and then I might lean it towards films that I think are worth the high fidelity. So maybe something a little bit more action spectacle, large, you know, just like bigger films. Not gonna skew against smaller, quieter films, but I think I'm less bothered about streaming them, if that makes sense.
By the way, following this discussion,
Yeah.
Anna and I watched Minority Report. She'd never seen it.
Yeah.
And it was on both Amazon and Netflix.
Okay.
And I actually started them on both and flipped between the two.
This is the problem. Yeah.
Because you had mentioned it. And I think there was a marginal difference in each of them. Amazon hadn't gone for the black bars at the top. It just filled the frame. Whereas Netflix had gone for the black bars. But we went for Amazon in the end because Amazon now have a dialogue enhancer with AI. So you can set a low or high dialogue enhancer, which for certain old movies, even if they are compressed, you just need that little lift.
Can I ask about the black bars? Is that is the film's aspect ratio different, or are you seeing more or less of the frame from one version?
Well, one would assume that I'm seeing less of the frame. They've filled the frame.
It's
but
weird.
It's the same movie, but I was getting black bars, 60:9 widescreen on Netflix.
Yeah.
But I wasn't getting that on Amazon.
This whole thing of like you wanting and ending up wasting time checking between two versions.
I mean, I didn't have to check.
I know. But you know what I mean? Like that thing that goes on in your mind is my problem. I want to just play it and not have the first few minutes like waiting for it to pop in 4K.
Yeah.
I want to just have the film. I said about this idea of like, I want to almost like tell Netflix or Amazon just to preload the film in the highest fidelity.
Why didn't you do
for me.
that for you? Why didn't you start it, leave it on pause for like 2 minutes? And then...
I still have no control over it. It's not like YouTube where you can select 4K and say don't choose the other one. Netflix will ultimately choose the bitrate and the resolution based on what it thinks I can render. But I've paid for Netflix, George.
I know.
Let my internet slow internet. It's not slow, but if I did have slow internet, that's my problem. I've paid you for 4K. Give me the highest bitrate, and they'll throttle it. Anyway, that's my spiel on it. Thanks for being brilliant. Your new champion, Alex. P.S. A few 4K recommendations. Apocalypse Now, stunning.
Yeah.
Literally blew my mind. That's a great pick. Like if you want it, if it's a masterpiece that you really want to have in the best quality, and I'm sure they have done a great job with a 4K release when they would have done it. Jackie Brown, Tenebrae, Barry Lyndon, Blade Runner, both. Yeah, do you know what? Blade Runner 2049, which I've said on this podcast is one of the best looking films I've ever seen, would be an amazing one to have on 4K Blu-ray because I might want to revisit that every 3 to 6 years and pop on Blade Runner because I kind of forget details about it, but I know it's a film that when I have rewatched it, gone, that is a brilliant, brilliant film.
About the Tree of Life.
Roger Deakins shot Tree of Life. It's a brilliant, beautifully shot Roger Deakins film that I bet is gorgeous to look at in 4K on a nice OLED. So that's exactly the type of film I think I'd lean towards.
I just want to thank you, Alex, for mentioning Tenebrae, which I'd not heard of, which is a Dario Argento horror movie. Thank you.
Nice.
Next up, this next email is from Amelia, who writes in about heavily stylized classic retellings. How do we feel? Amelia writes in and says, "Hey, James and George and James, how are you both? I hope you're having a great week."
So it's early start of the week.
Happy birthday, James.
Thanks so much.
Emma, hope you're having a good week too. With the recent release of the new Wuthering Heights trailer, she's put Wuthering Heights in quotation marks, and then she said, because apparently there's quotation marks in the name now, and I have something to say about this. And the reception generally not being warm, we talked about this on Double Take,
Yes,
by the
we
way.
did a whole thing on Double Take about this.
Yes.
Worth checking out, actually,
Yes.
if you're interested. Go and head over to Double
Our
Take.
temperature check on the movie,
Yes.
basically. With people saying it looks like Wuthering Heights meets 50 Shades.
Yeah.
It got me wondering what your opinion was on classic stories being retold in heavily stylized ways. Is that the way to describe it? E.g. Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, The Great Gatsby, Marie Antoinette, and Anna Karenina. I also then started wondering, had the pod been around in 2015 when 50 Shades released, what would have been the review? Anyway, sorry for the rambling email. I started to feel the pressure. Love the podcast, and I'm excited to see what you do as you continue flourishing. Thanks, M. Just want to say that was not a rambling email at all. That was actually quite succinct.
Yeah.
So let's start with Wuthering Heights. So the thing about the quotation marks, people have got a little bit obsessed with this.
Sirens on our own.
So people have taken that the poster, because I showed you the poster. It's a great poster.
Great poster.
That it has this very sort of kind of throwback melodrama kind of poster, and it has Wuthering Heights in quotation marks. And people have gone, oh, that's Emerald Fennell saying it's Wuthering Heights, but it's not the Wuthering Heights. That's not actually true. It's purely a stylistic design choice for the poster. If you go back to old movies like Gone with the Wind, It's a Wonderful Life, they all had the quotation marks because it was like, I present to you Wuthering Heights. In the same way that people italicize movies for us in our emails. It's the same thing. So people have got kind of hung up on that. James, in regard to classic stories being retold in heavily stylized ways, e.g. Romeo and Juliet, which we'll be talking about on the Leo DiCaprio bonus, The Great Gatsby, Marie Antoinette, Anna Karenina, I think it's kind of case by case.
Yeah, totally. I don't have a blanket policy against it. It's all about each individual one and the way in which it's done. But there's always there's no sort of clear line to go, well, that's a stylized adaptation. Like in one sense, like Nosferatu recently, for example, takes elements of Robert Eggers' Gothic style, but infuses it, still keeps it true, actually. It's still, I wouldn't say it's not a straight remake of the original, but it's just a completely different retelling. But I would still argue Robert Eggers' core DNA runs through that, but that really worked for me. But then, people might go, I don't like what they did with The Great Gatsby, but love what he did with Romeo and Juliet. So it just depends on how you sit with it.
Yeah, every director has a style. It's just about how some directors' styles are more visual and aesthetic and pronounced than others. So Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet would be very different to Emerald Fennell's Romeo and Juliet.
Yes.
Both very stylistic directors, but different in their style.
The Departed, for example, although not directly adapted, is based on Hong Kong crime police detective stories with the triad, but like he's infused his own style into The Departed and made it set it in Boston.
I think actually Baz Luhrmann was his style worked for Romeo and Juliet and Great Gatsby. I think, even though I think Great Gatsby I have some reservations for, but on the whole, I think Baz Luhrmann he suited the kind of excessive 1920s madness of it. And I've not seen Marie Antoinette, the Sofia Coppola movie. No. Though a lot of people think that's quite fun. I know there's bits in it where she wears like she's got Converses in her wardrobe. It's kind of going to be like a fun thing.
If you want to hear our raw reactions to the Wuthering Heights trailer, Double Take
is
a great one for that.
Oh, and I've not seen 50 Shades, so I can't give you what my review would have been, James.
Well, I just would have said that at the time, 50 Shades, post-book, even just the film, was such a huge phenomenon. And the film was so bad, it therefore invited the question of why does this resonate so much? And it meant that there's clearly such a void of fiction, films, art that was written from a sexualized female gaze. And the story for me was if there's such an appetite for these types of films, why is the best, most prominent offering
the worst?
Literally so bad? That was what was so curious about it, and that it was so poor. And they did do 3 of them that I think got worse and worse and worse. It's almost just like a curious observation of the industry, and therefore we should do better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's we should have something better to offer audiences.
This is
than 50 Shades.
But I guess that's the broadest, mass-produced version of it in its most bland, broad way.
Cue up Wuthering Heights. Next up, this one is from Bevan.
Friend of the show.
Long time I think, Bevan, sorry, you actually sent in an email a few weeks ago that we actually didn't get back to because we wanted to save it for potentially its own episode because it was a question that would take us a long time to answer. Yeah. We do have that email, but in the meantime, Bevan writes in and says, hello. I hope you're both doing well. It's been a little while since I emailed you last. Life has been pretty wild for me. I'm working on a play at the moment, so in rehearsals full time.
Congrats.
Your pod keeps me company on my commutes to and from the theatre. I unfortunately will not be able to attend the live show. Sad face. But I'll be sending you all the love and hope you break all the legs.
Hey, I'm going to break your fucking legs.
Break your fucking legs. A film I saw recently that I enjoyed is the new Irish film.
It was like Bevan's going to send her boys over.
Yeah,
Bevan sends her regards. Oh no! Hammers. Break your fucking legs.
You didn't read out her email. New Irish film, Christie. Set in Cork inner city, the film follows Christie, a 17-year-old who has just been thrown out of his suburban foster home and has to move in temporarily with his older brother, Shane. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you've had the chance to see it. I haven't had the chance to see it, but I'll take your recommendation.
I guess what's unfortunate is that there's the Sydney Sweeney movie, Christie, which is about to come out about the female boxer.
Oh, fine.
Which shares the same title. So I hope this one doesn't get lost in the mix.
Recently, I've seen a lot of people in my life get engaged / go to weddings, and it got me thinking, if you could attend any wedding from a film, which would it be? For me, it would be the wedding in Father of the Bride or Mamma Mia. I'd love to hear your thoughts. As always, I'm sending all my love, Bevan. Well, those are very good weddings.
Mamma Mia, they basically take over a small town.
That's a great one to do. Oh, that's a good one. I need to think now.
If anyone's ever watched the TV show Master of None, in the second season of that, they go to Italy for a wedding, and it looks so good. And I always used to think, I was like, that's great. Love to do that.
Yeah. Aragorn and Arwen's wedding at the top layer of Minas Tirith.
Oh, okay, we're doing that.
That'd be good. That'd be a good wedding. Cool. That's a good one.
Good. I mean, I'm going to type in best movie weddings.
You'd want to go big wedding in some sense because you want the sort of. I think Father of the Bride is actually quite a good one.
The About Time wedding's quite cute.
Oh yeah,
it pisses it down with rain, but it's also quite homely and kind of
Godfather.
Fun. That'd be a good one. The food would be
great. Just the characters around there, and then you just knock on a little office door and you just the donors.
If you had any business trouble you need taken care of. Oh my god,
that's a good one to do. Bridesmaids, obviously good fun.
The weddings in Wedding Crashers are massive.
Yeah.
And the one they go to with Christopher Walken
is at the estate.
It's all a bit like,
it's a bit waspy,
elitist and waspish, but the canapes, James, would be amazing. Crazy Rich Asians as well.
Yeah, I've not seen, but I hear it's great.
Great wedding.
Great question, actually. I'm going to start thinking that when I watch films, would I like to be at that wedding?
I'm going to say
or a wedding where it all goes wrong.
I was going to say no to the Love Actually wedding with Chiwetel because it looks quite small and inside. Yeah. But if we're going to do a movie wedding, make it a movie wedding. Normal.
Apart from the trumpets and the singing, it's just a bit sort of average, isn't it?
As he marries 17-year-old Keira Knightley. I know.
Just cast an adult.
I know. I'm just going to quickly look through others. What have we got here? Twilight. There's a wedding in Twilight. Little Mermaid.
Sure.
My best friend's wedding.
Yeah.
My Big Fat Greek Wedding, not seen.
Oh, that's great. You should see that.
Is it?
Yeah.
They made 2 more.
I'd say I backed the first one.
The third one, I think I talked about this when it came out like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Worst poster I've ever seen.
It was smoothed over. It's like what they did to Shrek.
Oh, Shrek had quite a good wedding.
Shrek. It did.
Apart from the dragon at the end. Oh, no, it's not his wedding. It's him and it's Fiona's and Farquaad's wedding.
It is, yeah. But I object. Yeah, big church. They did.
I mean, if you could get if like, honey, I got the venue. You're never gonna guess. It's in Far Away, and it's the. Oh no, it's not in Far Away.
No,
it's
just near
Duloc.
Duloc, yeah.
Welcome to Duloc. Of the Shrek verse.
You've gone too far south.
Far Away is the Hollywood version. I know. 30 going on 30. Mamma Mia.
You seen 13 going on 30?
Yes,
that's another weird one.
Quite like. I don't remember there being a wedding in that one.
She's a child in a woman's body, but it's having sex with Mark. Is Mark Ruffalo? Yeah.
Yes. Do they bone? I don't think they.
I can't remember, but they do stuff. They do something.
Oh, okay. And The Sound of Music. There's a wedding in that. I'd forgotten there was a wedding in that.
It's a wedding in The Sound of Music?
Apparently.
Who gets married in The Sound of Music? Does she marry?
I feel like this article that I'm taking from, which is BuzzFeed, they have taken scenes where there is like a wedding in like a montage, and they've been like best movie wedding.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. That was your answer there. Thank you, Bevan, for that.
This next one is from Arlo.
I'll read it out. It's okay.
Oh, sorry, it's your turn. Sorry, I beg your pardon.
I'm just kidding. It doesn't matter. It's like, thanks, George.
Yeah, fine.
Thanks for coming in. No, I don't mean. I mean, like, I just save you from talking. But this next email is from Arlo, who writes in about legacy sequels. Arlo writes in and says, "Hello, James and George and James. Greetings from New Zealand. I had just finished listening to your most recent episode where you had a look at legacy sequels and which ones were your favorites.
Go check that out. Good episode.
Thoroughly enjoyed this ep as usual and agree that Top Gun Maverick stands out as one of the few genuinely fantastic legacy sequels and serves as the template on how to do it right.
And a film that I didn't expect to be that.
Exactly. I also forgot one. Forgotten Legacy sequel, which is a bit of an outlier because it came out before the main wave, came out in 2010. Do you remember the Wall Street Legacy sequel, Wall Street Money Never Sleeps?
Yes, it is.
With Kerry Mulligan and Shia
LaBeouf.
Yeah.
Yes.
I watched it. I think I've seen it twice, actually. But it's not
Any good? Yeah. Okay.
The original Wall Street's okay.
Yeah.
But
okay.
But I'm finding it
like
strange
a weird.
that in my head that was like a new film.
Yes.
But that's actually 15 years ago.
Yeah. If you knew, you could
It's
be like,
almost
that's a
as far away as the original was from the Anyway, Arlo says, when it comes to my favorite Legacy sequel ever, it isn't a film but a TV series. That being Twin Peaks: The Return. David Lynch's final season, the beloved TV show, released 25 years after the original. I believe it to be a truly mesmerizing piece of storytelling, one that doesn't pander to audiences and avoids nostalgia bait at all costs, while delivering a satisfying yet utterly thought-provoking and fitting conclusion to the series. Without spoiling anything, the finale will always send chills down my spine in a way that is so unequivocally Lynchian. Never seen Twin Peaks.
Neither.
I have heard that is amazing. Twin Peaks is just like a whole box that I haven't...
before my time in a way.
Yeah,
I never
and
really...
it's so revered as well.
Yeah.
Do you ever think he'll do it?
Not probably not, which is a shame, but maybe. Maybe if I get really ill. the next
You're
lockdown.
doing the Obama, maybe? I don't know.
I don't
It's
know.
classified.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know if you've seen Twin Peaks. Well, there you go. Yeah. And if so, what do you think of it? Well, there you go. I highly recommend it, as it served as my gateway into the rest of Lynch's work and broadened my interest in different genres and styles in film and television. Thanks to the great content as always. What I would give to be able to pop to the other side of the planet for episode 100, episode 200, I think you mean, Arlo. If you have a time machine, go ahead to go to episode 200 of Pulp Kitchen. All the best, Arlo. Arlo, thank you for that lovely email, and kia ora to you in New Zealand.
This next one is from Nina, who writes in, should actors be pressured into chasing viral moments?
Ooh.
Hi, guys. I'm Nina from the Netherlands. Nice alliteration.
Yeah.
First-time writer, long-time listener. I really love your podcasts and the thought you put into your discussions, and that brings me to this email. I've not directly connected to a review or movie, but rather to interview culture. Recently, YouTuber Marina McBain made a video called Journalism is Dead. What's funny?
It's because she's, first of all, it's a great name, Marina McBain. And then I'm thinking of the Simpsons character McBain, and I'm just thinking, you suck, McBain! Very, very...
But that's a great hi, Marina McBain.
Hi, Marina
I'm
McBain.
here to speak to you.
Hi, I'm Marina McBain.
Marina McBain is
I've got an email for you. It's Marina McBain.
Which discusses how social media has influenced the way interviews with actors. The way
interviews are conducted with actors.
Instead of focusing on the film itself, interviewers often seem more interested in creating viral moments for social media. I will have opinions to say on this.
Yeah.
I'll finish your email. What frustrates me is how much this trend takes away from the audience. We're missing out on truly interesting insights from incredibly talented actors, directors, artists. Instead, the content becomes increasingly shallow, which in turn encourages interviewers to ask even dumber questions just to chase the next viral clip. But what also worries me is realizing that these viral moments often drive popularity, and with that, success as an actor. The more viral they become, the more roles they get, and suddenly they're everywhere. Pedro Pascal. And while I do think that Pedro Pascal is a great actor, I can't help but wonder whether the power of social media has reduced opportunities for other actors. Does this put pressure on actors to participate in sometimes ridiculous social media trends, or to go along with influencers' questions? Of course, popularity has always influenced casting decisions, but this feels like a dynamic on steroids. Personally, I think there are still great interviewers out there, even if they come from social media. For example, you two have also had opportunities to speak with actors and directors, and I really appreciate how you guys always made them feel comfortable while asking thoughtful questions. And if content creators genuinely love film, I think it's wonderful that they get the opportunity to have conversations with actors. Sorry for the long email, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, even if you see it as an issue. Best, Nina. P.S. I can imagine this issue might be frustrating for you as well, since your more thoughtful questions have less potential to go viral, unfortunately. But please, stay true to yourselves. So this is a really big and relevant conversation, something that George and I talk about a lot. If you listen to the show, you'll know that especially recently, we do junket interviews amongst... We will technically cast ourselves as influencers, but also we occupy both strands, as like we want to take some of those clips and put them into our long form podcast as a full interview, but also we are trying to lift those clips to perform on social media. I think a problem anyone has with these interviews is that sometimes you've got a really interesting conversation about a really interesting film, but we will genuinely get 4 minutes with the talent. A good example and a success story, recent example of this is the one you did for A Real Pain with Kieran Culkin and Jesse Eisenberg, where that film is not a deeply sad film, but it's very thought-provoking about the Holocaust. And you were like, I have 4 minutes. With 2 interviewers, that's basically 2 questions if I'm lucky. And the whole thing was like, you can't really get into a deep conversation about anything serious within that time frame. So all you can do is have fun and try and find a funny moment. The great story is that you found an amazing moment that I think is one of our highest performing clips ever at north of 5 or 6 million views, which was just simply about airport rituals.
And I came up with that question like 2 minutes before I went in because I had to pivot because of what other people said. So I get to that, but carry on.
Yeah, no, and that's the classic example of like, if given the chance, you would have loved 10 plus minutes to talk to the director star and the other star about the way in which that film unpacked, you know, being immigrants, Jewish identity, the Holocaust, any of it. Like, there's so many interesting things to talk about that, but you didn't have that opportunity. But that actually worked. And there's other examples where I get a really short interview and I go, I can't really engage with this. So instead, I'm just going to try and have fun with the talent. But ultimately, it does, through a cynical lens, reduce the substantive work of that film into trying to make something that only works for someone who's scrolling on social media to hook them into an answer. And it is a bit of a balance for us of like, we obviously love the privilege to speak to talent, but sometimes we don't get enough time to really ask them a question. I think that suffers both for talent and for the interviewer, whereas neither of them are happy with the situation. I've always kind of thought that the junkets are amazing opportunities. I've always considered them to be a hangover legacy format from print media, where people would go into a hotel room, you would get 10 minutes and you would write notes and you would do a write-up in a magazine or a newspaper. I really do believe that's where the junket format came from. I think recently the junket format has been shoehorned into digital media and social, and now it's videoed and there's mics. And I think it kind of works. I think sometimes the environment isn't conducive to a good interview. It's very stuffy. It is like Horses and Hound from Notting Hill. You crawl into Horse and Hound. Forgive me. They will cover both Horse and Hound equally.
You can renew your subscription.
You can renew my subscription. You wait in this awkward room and then you sit outside the room and then you crawl into like under boom poles and lights and you sit and there's like 6 crew in the room. It's not always the most.
And they've just done 15 of the same conversation. They've just done 15 back-to-back with
you can call them before lunch or just after lunch. And again, like we massively love these interviews. We've had some amazing opportunities to speak to talent. Like I think a highlight for us was Mikey Madison and Sean Baker for Honora. Danny Boyle and Alex Garland was an amazing one. And I hope you guys can enjoy those conversations. But even then, sometimes with 8 minutes, 10 minutes, I'm like, I could have gotten into so much more. But I think that email really...
So yes, just on the... Starting with the Kieran Culkin example and for Jesse Eisenberg for A Real Pain, that was really interesting because from my perspective, I was so down.
Yes,
after that interview. I was really judged because that film is about the Holocaust. Like, I have Polish heritage. You have, Polish family heritage as well. And it's like, I wanted to go in there and really have this discussion. And they'd only given us 4 minutes. And both of my questions were serious, and having a successive amount of journalists come back into the press room being like, oh my God, they had so much fun. I thought, I'm going to have to abandon this. And it was actually a massive learning curve and realizing what you do with the time that you're given. And I think you and I have kind of arrived at a point which is like, if you're given 5 minutes and under, you have to just basically go with 2 questions and make them fun and just kind of amp up the chemistry and have a nice vibe. And it's not something you would ever insert into the podcast because it's not what you get. So when we did Mission Impossible, for example, we had good fun with Simon Pegg and Hayley Atwell, but like, you're not having a conversation.
It wasn't long
You're
form
just like,
interview. It's
almost like elevated small talk.
Yes.
What I will say is that this trend of giving press and any content creators, any people who are doing junkets, giving them 5 minutes is very much a post-COVID thing. The minimum used to always be apparently 10 minutes. And it's been watered down because they're trying to get as many people in as possible. And you ask any journalist or content creator who's doing these junkets, they will always say they want, they would always prefer much longer. I think it's also worth saying that we're lucky in that we work for ourselves. We create our own questions. We aren't responding to an editor who's signing off our questions. A lot of these people who go to ask these questions are in these junkets have to answer to the media outlet that they are representing. And that media outlet has however much respect they have for the talent and the film.
It's not their baby.
Yeah, but can you ask them about this? Because that post will do much better than it will for this other thing. And so you get talent asking questions. So you get the journalists asking questions they probably don't want to do, but they are hooking for a viral moment. That's always been the undercurrent of journalism. Even before digital media, everyone's looking for the scoop. Everyone's looking for the little moment. I went to the when I did the paper junket recently, when I spoke to an Irish journalist who was there who had just spoken to Donald Gleeson, and she was like, "Yeah, it was cool." But she had a question. There was a presidential election race in Ireland, and she was tasked by her editor to ask Donald Gleeson, as a joke, but like, would your father ever consider running to be president of Ireland, right? And she was really nervous about asking it, because I'm like, yeah, I would hate to ask that, because
he doesn't want to talk about his dad.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to talk about his dad. He doesn't want to talk about such a political thing. Yeah. But she did, and apparently he's very graceful. So I sympathise with the people on the ground. So just remember, when you see these clips, always there's so many layers of political decision making from a brand's point of view.
And I this is a thing that I think everyone feels. Like, I literally had this conversation with Liv Lily Marks. So if you're in this sphere, you'll follow. She like talks to the very best, and she's got a wonderfully like fun personality. And she is a brilliant harvester of these great viral moments, and talent really love her. And she said really candidly to me, it's like, I sometimes have these interviews. I'm like, I'm always being pressured to find that viral moment that is ready to watch when you're scrolling on a million different things. And similarly, like Ali Plum, also a friend of ours, he as the BBC Radio 1's correspondent, often gets 10 to 16 minutes with talent. He really gets to marinate in a longer interview and take his time.
But it's interesting, and like, hopefully, fingers crossed, we might have an opportunity to speak to Benny Safdie. And it's like, at the moment, that's hopefully meant to be 10 minutes.
Yes.
And I'm like, one-to-one, because you're away, so it's one-to-one, I can have a conversation with someone in 10 minutes. But if that came back and it was like 5 minutes, I have to completely rethink what I ask him, because it's like, okay, that's not really going to be an insert. What can I get out of it?
How long are they going to take to answer as well?
You need warm-up time.
Yeah.
You never ask your best question first.
Yeah.
You need them to respond to you, and I haven't put it out, but like when I did the interview with Donald Gleeson recently, I asked him a question about The Revenant, like as my first question, as like a spin-off thing. We were kind of just joking around, but it caught him off guard. And I was like, oh, if I'd asked him that later, he probably would have been more prepared for it.
Yeah.
But it's a really interesting world. And just know that if you're listening to Pulp Kitchen, we try our best.
We try really hard.
And like, yes, sometimes we will do fun questions depending on the type of the movie, the type of talent, the tone and everything. But we will always try where we can to have a proper conversation.
And where we feel like we can really sort of showcase that we care and we know and we have knowledge and we noticed, we will always try and do that with those types of things.
Also, just worth saying that a lot of people have been like, oh, they shouldn't let influencers or content creators do junkets. It's important to make the distinction between film content creators and influencers and general content creator and influencers, because I have seen junket circuits where they get general content creators and they put them in front of talent, which is very different. We know content creators like Henry Calvert, who has been given junket opportunities and absolutely smashes it because he is invested and loves the world. But I've also seen films being promoted where they've sat somebody who's a lifestyle influencer or a beauty makeup influencer who, as nice as they seem to be, isn't invested in this world.
But the film might not necessarily need that for them to have a good interview. And I will say, like, I think the criticism is like, oh, they'll just let any old fucking influencer speak to them.
No.
I really think they are quite selective over who they let. We don't get access to everyone we want. Like, it's often they are cherry picking exactly who they think we want, and we are working very hard to like earn that trust to do those long form interviews, to get in those rooms with talent we want to be with. Like, it's not easy to get access.
It's a very the processing of trying to get approved to get a junket is very thorough.
We get a lot of requests. We get a lot of the moving around. Okay, you don't have this talent.
Yeah, and we have a lot of things that don't happen.
Another example is like I did Will Poulter for Death of a Unicorn.
Yes,
lovely actor. Great actor, bad movie, not fun. Not interesting. Very little intellectually, I think, to jump into. So I just had fun with him. He's a character who wore shorts and was very silly, so I talked about shorts with him. And luckily, Will Poulter, really easyggoing, funny guy, just like was totally game for it, and it made for a good interview.
Yeah.
If he wanted to take that really seriously, it could have been really bad because I had no serious questions for him. Thankfully, it was very fun. So it's fascinating. That's a really long tangent, but we do have lots of thoughts. I am often concerned that scrolling on social media, the primary format is now coming like the automatic reel that you find, and interesting large conversations about film are being reduced and boiled down to a viral moment. That is a concern of mine. Yeah. I like to think we get to have those, if we can, longer conversations on a podcast where people can listen to it long form.
It's basically like, it is the long form answers are better served on a podcast, really, than
maybe we're
elsewhere.
biased.
But we we've been doing about 18 months now with talent, and we've really had access to proper A-list talent, I'd say, in just under the last year.
Yeah.
And we're very, very grateful for it. And we've always had, broadly speaking, actually very positive experiences.
Yes,
and sometimes, whether it's the Kieran Culkin thing or like Mission Impossible, and it's like, even if sometimes you do get 4 minutes and it sucks to have such a short time, you can have a lot of fun.
And sometimes if something doesn't clip and massively perform, maybe it only gets 20, 30,000 views on our social media, but as an interview, we're really proud of it.
Yeah.
But then similarly, we don't get a long form interview, but the clips got 100,000 million views. We're like, great. As long as we're getting attention and people are enjoying it in one sphere, that's absolutely fine. Long answer to that question, but that's like literally our bread and butter. So we have so much to say on that.
Thank you for
enjoyed that insight as well.
This next email is from Diego, who writes in and says, hope you're having a splendid day. Long-term fan and second-time emailer. I wanted to give a shout-out to Caught Stealing, which I recently saw and took me back to a time of fun, escapist, one-off movies, which after watching some interviews with Darren Aronofsky seems to be what he was going for, and he absolutely nailed. Check out our review of Caught Stealing and our interview with Matt Smith and Darren Aronofsky from a couple of weeks, 3 weeks ago maybe. This got me thinking about a subgenre of movies that I've been slowly amalgamating in my head, which I call middle Americana. It's a loose term to describe movies that, for me, hit a particular spot and have certain characteristics, look and feel that tie them together. In general, these movies are one-offs, mid-budget, based in the US. Some have a crime thriller western elements, some humor, usually dark, some are biopics, and more often than not happen at some point in the 20th century. Directors that have done these include the Coen brothers, James Mangold, Taylor Sheridan, Jeff Nichols, and George Clooney. This is the list I have so far in no particular order of preference. It would be great to know your thoughts and if you could agree or disagree with my thesis about Middle Americana. James, are you ready to give some quick fire sounding off to some of these films? Well, The Order, which I saw, I would say, Middle Americana, because it's set in like Wyoming / Northern California. Very interesting. Bike Riders.
Yes,
definitely Middle Americana. Hell or High Water. Yeah. Have you seen that?
I've not seen it.
Oh,
no. Yeah.
Great solid movie.
Oh, great.
Oh,
nice.
yeah. You should. That's a great solid movie. Right. Chris Pine, Jeff Bridges, and Ben Foster.
Oh,
great movie. Sicario. Yeah, I guess because the sort of a Western element of it, isn't it? Tension. Wind River, I mean, freezing cold in bloody, like, it's like the coldest. It's not because it's somewhere where they've got oil.
Was it not Utah?
Maybe it is Utah. Is it Wyoming or Montana?
Stand by.
Walk the Line, not seen, but obviously Americana.
I swear, like, when we were at Sundance, that film was playing in a montage.
Really?
Do you remember when we were...
Wind River. You saw this movie, right? Wind River?
No.
Oh, wow.
Where
is set in... Wind River's a funny one. It's really slow, but Wyoming.
Wyoming, okay.
But it has some great moments in it. Sorry, back to the email. We've got
Walk the Line.
Walk the Line, biopic, Ford v Ferrari.
Sure.
Yeah. Complete Unknown, I guess.
Yes.
It's American. Because that we would say of all the previous James Mangold movies he's just mentioned there, that's the one that's like, this is a time in America. That's significant. We haven't seen Rustin.
No.
Trial of the Chicago 7.
Film.
Yeah. Killer Joe, not seen. White Boy Rick, not seen. Killing Them Softly, I guess, The Men Who Stare at Ghosts, not seen. Loving, true story. The Tender Bar, not seen. Inside Llewyn Davis,
Sure.
similar thing. Fargo, sure, I mean, that really is like Middle America, A Serious Man. No Country for Old Men. Suburbicon, my God. That film was meant to be terrible. Yeah. That film, that's a forgotten movie. The Matt Damon one.
Film, yeah.
There's a whole thing, I think I've said this before, but it was clearly, that was directed by George Clooney. It was clear that a subplot in that movie had been completely removed because there was this whole, it's just this whole, if you read about it, it was clear there was going to be this whole like parallel story with a black family that got kind of cut out except for like 1 or 2 scenes and it sticks out like a sore thumb. And
what do you think it has on Rotten Tomatoes?
39%.
Do you think you're high or low?
High? Am I high? Am I in the 30s though?
No.
20s?
Yeah.
26?
27.
Wow, yeah. The Master, Inherent Vice, Caught Stealing, and Looper. And actually, you know what? We're going to talk about One Battle After Another next week, but actually I think you could take all of Paul Thomas Anderson's movies and that would be the definition kind of Middle Americana that you're going for. That and the Coen brothers I think really handled very well. So that would be my answer for you. All the best in capitals, Diego.
This next one is from Ruben, who writes in, The Life of Chuck. Buongiorno, gentlemen. I have just today finally watched The Life of Chuck after hearing various mixed reviews. I recall James seeing this before release and having a good time with it. I also recall George having a slightly lesser time but didn't hate the film.
I think I'm on the. I thought you enjoyed it more than you.
Again, he might be.
He might be
no,
confusing
because he
us.
didn't know. I saw it before.
I think I enjoyed it.
I was like, I like it. I'm not gaga over it. That was my like sort of one-liner.
I think I'm the same as you. I when people mention, I go, oh yeah, that's a chuck.
Yeah. I also listened to Fred Asquith's review, friend of the show, who very much didn't like it at all. I personally thoroughly enjoyed the film, feeling like the unorthodox structure contributed to the charm and helped hammer home the overall message it was trying to get across. I felt like this film had a good balance of feel-good, heartbreak, and the minor sprinkling of Stephen King's supernatural. Although very predictable and cliche in places, I couldn't help but feel that, in a world surrounding by a lot of negativity, The Life of Chuck was a refreshing blast of look on the bright side and a very good 1 hour and 50 minutes of escapism. It's very true.
I said that. That's
it's life-affirming and optimistic, and in the face of darkness, like there is light in your life.
I think a good one for Christmas Day.
I kind of see that, yeah. Maybe it's the current state of my own very up and down mental health at the moment, but I personally had a wonderful time. Keep up the exceptional work. Much love, Ruben. Yeah, I really do think the film serves in that sense for sure for people.
Just on that point, we've had a couple of emails. It's just talking about Stephen King. We've had a couple of emails in about The Long Walk, which is out at the moment, which is meant to be very, very good. We haven't had the chance to catch it just yet. We will try to, but those emails are noted.
I do want to catch it, and I've also just heard good things about The Conjuring Last Rites. I might go and check it out and just report back.
I'll walk over to The Long Walk and you can go check out The Conjuring Last Rites.
Shitloads of money, so let's throw it another bone.
And this last email is from Joe, who says, every year is a bad year for film. Until it isn't.
Oh, here we go.
Hello, both. First time emailer here. If I subject myself to picking either one of your names first, I will sit staring for hours, stressing when there could be more to stress about. However, I also don't know if I also know now, if I don't say George and James, I feel rude for not calling you by your names. Well, now I guess your response will be that George is first, so my foot has actually been shot off by myself. Anyway.
In any order, it's political.
Yeah. I found your conversation around the 26 awards contenders interesting. Yes, that was last week's episode about the sort of potential 2026.
An early sneak peek.
An early sneak peek. Personally, I'm excited for Sentimental Value, Hamnet and Begonia. However, my question or topic of conversation comes down to this. As cinephiles, we always say around the September mark, this year hasn't been that good for films. I think I've used this sentiment with everyone for the last 10 years, the biggest exception being 2023. But then awards season comes around and our perspective is quite different in the end, and we always feel more positive on the year. It's always the autumn-winter season that really brings it home. However, as a UK-based film lover, I think 2025 has already been a really, really great and is actually stronger than a lot of years recently. We've had Brutalist, A Real Pain, 28 Years Later, Sinners, Nosferatu, I'm Still Here, Eddington, Weapons, Bring Her Back, Sorry Baby, How to Train Your Dragon, and Bridget Jones 4, to name quite a few. And look at what's coming. Thankfully, I work at a cinema and I get free tickets because otherwise I'd be broke. My question is this. What year for film has been a bad year to you until it brings it home in the last dying embers of the year? On first thought, I would say 2017, as autumn and winter was filled with absolute bangers for the UK folks, notably Paddington 2. Sorry for the long email. Keep doing what you're doing. You've heard all this before, but you're absolutely brilliant and make commutes, gym sessions, cooking, and any general life activity so much better. Joe. Thank you, Joe.
Like the 2020, when we've just, as we were starting this, and the year before, it was a void year, wasn't it? And that's not because of the industry. That was just the planet at that stage.
With COVID.
It was the virus that ravaged our homeland.
I think it's more that, like, Joe, your email, I think, it's almost like the calendar year of the Gregorian calendar does not match the film calendar. In a way, the film year starts in September and finishes in July.
I think of The Brutalist as last year's film because it was part of that conversation. And it's always an annoying one because we do our year review as per the Gregorian calendar, not the Oscars calendar or like the sort of the awards calendar. So I will forget to include The Brutalist in some senses in my end of year for this year.
And because also because of the way it is in the States of the Oscar voting, those films have to come out the year before. Yeah. So they're all they can quite neatly say, 2024 was Brutalist, Real Pain, etc. But for us, we don't get it like that. We get these films coming out in January. Yeah. But I agree.
We need content between Christmas and New Year's. So that's going to be that.
Check in at the end of the year, as always. We will be doing our best movies of 2025.
The Pulp Kitchen Awards.
The Pulp Kitchen Awards, an annual event.
Yeah.
And
it's a black tie affair.
Yes. It's. I think last year we went for
smart casual.
Smart casual. Yeah. But we will be going over everything all this year. I think this year's is really a year of two halves in a way, actually, and it's turning itself around. There's some really interesting things happening.
Yeah, I'm feeling more optimistic on the year. I think just of 2025.
Yes.
Like I think it just was a bit of like a lot of disappointments and empty months.
Now if someone says to me, what's something you've seen recently that's good? I go, oh, okay, well, you could go see this. You could go see that. Those were the emails that we had
And
today.
in general, this whole conversation about good years, at Pulp Kitchen 200, we are going to be discussing the very best films of the 2020s. That is going to form a large part of our live show.
Because we are halfway through the decade right now, and we've been doing this podcast for nearly as long as the decade has been running.
So it will kind of cover like a huge assessment of all the films we've covered on Pulp Kitchen and just a little bit before. We're going to use all the data that you guys have sent in. We're going to be running polls on our social media, get all of you to vote on what are the top 5 best films of the 2020s, and then live on the show, which you'll listen to or be there to watch, we will reveal what those 5 are. George and I will discuss them. We'll get the audience to guess. That's going to form a large chunk of Pulp Kitchen 200, which I think is a really nice topic. And then it gives you guys something to come away with. It's a great, we always love doing polls with our social media because it's a pool of 100,000 people that we can come to vote, which I think is just great.
Yeah. It's going to be, that's something we're really excited to tucking into. It's like the biggest sort of debate we could think of.
Yes. And sure, hopefully we can ask people on the day, like, what would be some of their top favorites of the last 5 years.
And there are going to have to be some exceptions, guys, because a lot of you will say Parasite, but Parasite's technically a 2019 movie.
Yes.
We will be doing the official release date, not just UK release date. I think we'll be going by the official release date to make it clean.
Yeah.
So Parasite came out in 2019. It didn't come out in the UK until 2020.
So January 1st, 2020 is like the start date.
That is the start date. And wherever it's released, it has to have released after that time, any time in the world.
Yeah.
For that one, to make it clean.
It's exciting. As always, guys, if you're on the fence, get your tickets. It is going to be an amazing, amazing night. That is all the emails we have for today's show.
James, you know how we feel? That was a little Bruce Almighty reference. James, should we finish with the game?
Let's do it.
James, as ever, Pulp Kitchen finishes.
With a gay finishes. It ends.
What is?
We've never done it finishes.
Is that not?
It's just never been finishes.
Pulp Kitchen concludes
with a game.
Pulp Kitchen terminates
with a game.
Sorry, Pulp Kitchen.
That really threw me.
Pulp Kitchen ends. It's like you're just on autopilot.
Are you not real?
As ever, James, Pulp Kitchen ends
with a game.
And today, guys, we have another round of the guess the movie plot from the characters in them. The characters. We actually struggle to
title them in a way that works.
Guess
for social
the movie
media.
plot from the characters in them, or guess the movie from the characters the actors have played within them. You know what it is.
Yeah.
From just going to it. So I'm going to describe a movie plot, and I'm going to describe it by naming the actors with the characters that they have played in other films.
It'll become clear once we start.
Exactly. It's not a hard game. It's a fun game. So play along. If you like
this
movies,
purely
okay.
miscellaneous characters from all over the place?
Yes. No. This is previously I did superheroes.
Yes.
I've expanded it a bit now.
Just
there are
everyone.
superheroes in there, but there are a wider selection.
Clean
Are you
slate.
ready?
I'm ready.
Using the character names as clues, guess these movies. The Penguin and Harley Quinn share a car ride.
A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey.
Exactly. Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch help Walter White battle a giant lizard.
Godzilla.
Yes. Batman is an expendable experiment for the Hulk, only to then encounter another Batman.
Expendable.
Batman is an expendable experiment for the Hulk, only to then encounter Mickey 17.
Yes.
The Doctor gets Catwoman and Elvis in trouble.
Catwoman and Elvis in trouble. Caught stealing.
Yes. Ken robs banks with the help of director Krennic, only to collide with Leonard Bernstein.
Place me on the vines.
Yes.
I love this game.
Cliff Booth just wants to stop commuting, but Quicksilver, Domino, and General Zod have other plans.
Bullet Train.
Yes. Whitney Houston is in paradise, or is she with Gambit?
Houston is in Blink twice.
Yes. Gwen Stacy wants to run away with the Hulk, much to the Green Goblin's dismay.
Poor things.
Yes. Poe Dameron, Batman, The Mandalorian, and 2 others come into a large amount of cash and get greedy.
That's a triple frontier.
Yes. And lastly, Batman robs banks with Vito Corleone, only for Michael Corleone to be in pursuit.
Batman robs Say that again?
Batman robs banks with Vito Corleone, only for Michael Corleone to be in pursuit.
Oh, Heat.
Yes,
Sorry. Do you know what? When you say Batman, it could be Clooney, it could be Thing. I'm like,
I thought, give Val Kilmer a
like,
shout.
yeah.
Okay, he deserves a shout. Good little fun there.
I was like George Clooney and Marlon Brando. What?
I'd watch it. I'd watch it.
That's what comes into my head.
Yeah, I thought like with Travis Bickle, it's too obvious. I thought play the Corleones off against each other.
Really,
that
really
was
good.
using the characters' names as
They're
clues.
really fun.
Thank you very much.
Those are very, very good.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Pulp Kitchen.
Don't forget, we post new episodes of this podcast every single Wednesday.
As well as bonus content, including Leonardo DiCaprio's best movies, which we'll be releasing this week ahead of our review of Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another next week, which James and I have seen and we're very excited to discuss. We're not allowed to say anything else. Otherwise, they cuff me and take me away. Take me away, officer.
We don't get access to those types of interviews and
Yes,
things.
exactly.
Yeah. I think by the way, there's like a social embargo lifted for that, but not that we're gonna. This is an outlet.
This is a proper
Pulp Kitchen is an outlet.
Yeah, we don't start the printing press.
It's
until we're allowed to.
It's a magazine.
Thank you as ever to Nope. I've forgotten more things to say.
Go do it.
I think as every episode we get older, I lose my
Worse,
mind.
yeah.
I get worse.
Yeah.
Continue to follow us on social media if you don't already, because on Instagram and TikTok we post not only junket clips from the junkets that we do. Not always they don't always fit onto the show. We always put them on the Instagram and TikTok if not. But we also post film bites and just some fun events we go to.
And if you do want to vote soon in the next couple of weeks on what are the best films of the 2020s, to be a part of that poll and to put your vote in, follow us, and it will probably be polls on our stories. We'll probably do a little real announcement for it, but it'd be fun if as many of you as possible tune in for that and give your opinion, and then be a part of episode 200, which you'll be able to listen to eventually when it comes out.
I can't wait to see you guys there. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
Have a great week, and as thank as ever. Thank you to our producers, Finn and Dave.
Salute you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Sirs. Really, there's more than one of them.
Salute you. I always salute them.
Yeah,
every time.
me too.
Like captains.
I just want to make sure there's plural. For get both of them.
See you next week.
Bye.